Welcome to Better Said Than Written, the podcast that shares inspirational excerpts from books, essays, poems, and quotes that when read aloud just sounds better said than written. I'm your host, Tamika Cody. This episode is for those who've stopped pursuing a dream, or maybe never had the courage or support to dream, or maybe fear is holding you back from imagining what's possible. Langston Hughes once said, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly." A broken-winged bird that cannot fly? They are stuck, grounded, wishing they could soar. That's a pretty vivid analogy of a person who lost the hope to dream. Here's what I know. You can dream again. And for those who never dreamed, it's never too late to start. So why do we stop dreaming? For some of us, it's fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. For others, it's disappointment. Maybe you chased a dream once and it didn't work out. You got hurt, and now you think, well, what's the point? As I've shared in previous episodes, I have experienced this recently when I realized my dream job was not going to work in my favor. So when you let go of your dreams, did life get easier or did it just get smaller? I know for me, in the beginning, life was foggy. The fog was so thick I couldn't see where I was going next, so I just remained stagnant. I curled up in the corner of my couch and I cried. I didn't eat. I barely slept. For weeks, the sun didn't touch my skin and fresh air only hit my lungs when I needed to go to the grocery store to buy milk for coffee or to go to a therapy session. But I took the time I needed to truly recover from that broken dream. Several months later, the fog finally started to clear, and I was able to see the lights at the intersection. My next challenge was figuring out if I wanted to take another shot at my dream. Langston Hughes reminds us to hold fast to dreams. That means clinging to them, even when it feels like the world is telling you to let go. At the very beginning of my journalism career, I dreamed of sharing stories that inspired people who were searching for hope. Life didn't make it easy. I faced rejection, which comes with the territory of broadcast journalism. There was also financial struggles because the pay is not so great in the lower markets. And then there were moments where I thought maybe it's time to pack it up and move on to something else. But then I would get a change of heart, especially when viewers would write in with their comments. For example, there was a viewer who wrote in and they said, "I love the story you did about the woman who overcame meth addiction through photography." And then there was this one time where a homeowner found my story about subterranean termites, and they wanted to know the best way to get rid of them. By the way, I advised that homeowner to reach out to the scientists I interviewed for the story. Dr. Nanyao Su is a professor at the University of Florida who invented the Centricon system for termite colony elimination. Now, even though I was no longer at that station, I had moved on by then, but that homeowner wrote into me and was like, "Hey, I found Dr. Su and I spoke to him and he helped me get rid of termites from my home." And that's hope, right? Even though it wasn't a drug addiction or something catastrophic, this viewer was searching for hope of how to get termites out of their home, because that could be very costly if you don't get to the problem right away. And because that viewer was searching for hope, they found me. They found my story, okay? And they were like, "Hey, Tamika, I need your help. What should I do?" That's what I'm talking about when I say I get a change of heart. You know, I spent years honing my craft and staying ahead of the digital landscape as a journalist. And I take pride in calling myself not just a journalist, but a multimedia journalist. So what does that mean? For me, it means I could write long-form, short-form articles for print, broadcast, and digital, meaning the World Wide Web. I know how to shoot, edit, light, front, voice my own stories for broadcast television, and I understand the dynamics of content management systems, and some of you may know that as CMS. And I also understand the importance of meeting viewers, readers, and listeners where they are on the interwebs, whether it's on websites, newsletter, or social media. The most rewarding aspect for me of being a journalist is when a perfect stranger trusts me to tell their stories, whether it's asking a parent to walk me through the day their child took their own life, or convincing my news director why it's important to share the story of a homeless woman who felt invisible during the COVID lockdown. As I moved up in my career, there were times that I couldn't see how to achieve my ultimate goal in broadcast journalism on my own. But you know what? I made it to the top 10 market without an agent, without asking for favors. I made it on my own merit. So when I tripped on that tattered red carpet while trying to make my way through the halls of my dream job, I stopped dreaming altogether. I told myself it was time to be realistic and focus on what's safe. Because by that time, I lost my spark. My days felt empty, even when my family filled my soul with acceptance, encouragement, and love. But I spent a lot of time on TikTok, just scrolling and then also making cooking videos or vlogs, etc. And although it wasn't consistent, I would sporadically pop up and do something here and there. And there was this viewer on TikTok. They go by Space Oddity. They threw a mustard seed of faith in my direction on one of my vlogs that talked about why we do what we do when we don't want to do it. Here's a clip. Even though I am dressed and heading out the door, I really don't want to go. But, as per usual, my friend is like, we gotta go to brunch. One of my friends are in town, and we gotta go to brunch. We gotta go to brunch. And I'm like, my schedule has shifted, so brunch is gonna have to wait until Saturday or Sunday. So here I am, dressed and out the house, still recovering from a cold. And even though my social meter is on 30%, I'm still going. I don't want to go, but I'm up. You see, in life, there are things that we don't want to do, but we do. Why? Who fucking knows? Actually, I do know why we do the things that we don't want to do, but we do them anyway. We do them, specific things, for people who we care about, because nobody's promised tomorrow. Now, what if I said, no, I'm not going? And then the friend who's in town ends up going back to where they came from and they die. I would feel guilty. Now, this friend is not a close friend of mine. This friend is a close friend of my friend. And we've exchanged, communication over the years that I've known this person. But I'm not like, oh my gosh, I gotta see this free. No, that's not me. I'm just like, you know what? I'm doing this for my friend because my friend wants to see me there. So yeah, that's why we do things that we really don't want to do, because we care about people. Is that people pleasing? Is it? I don't know. Space Oddity then commented, "This is so needed for me. Thank you. I found you when I looked you up on Warby Parker after getting new glasses and found your wonderful positive vibes." And then I posted a video reply to Space Oddity expressing my gratitude, because I was just like, oh my gosh, her words just moved me in the direction of, you got to keep going. Her comment, although it was simple and short, instilled in me that my little voice matters. Things started to shift, and that's why I'm here talking to you today. Dreaming is scary. It makes us vulnerable. When we dream, we open up ourselves to the possibility of failure. But on the other side of that door, we're also opening ourselves up to the possibility of transformation. When was the last time you felt alive? It was probably when you were chasing something you really cared about, right? When I started to give up on my dream, I donated a ton of equipment and gadgets I invested hundreds of dollars on for my journalism career. My family looked at me and asked if I was sure. I lashed out and said, what's the point? It's never going to happen for me anyway. But when Space Oddity dropped her comment on a random TikTok video, I remembered the words of Langston Hughes. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. I was living like that bird, grounded by fear and disappointment. But here I am, trying again. I'm taking baby steps. I'm producing this podcast, not just for myself, but for those of you who are searching for hope. I'm not worried if this podcast will succeed or fail, because this is a personal project no one can take away from me. No one can fire me from better said than written. The important part to this journey is that I'm reestablishing my confidence. When the voice of that one person who said, "Tamika, you're missing the narrative and you're not a good storyteller," creeps into my thoughts, I say out loud, I'm not writing for you. I'm writing from my heart and for the people who value my style. As it turns out, my dream isn't dead. I just needed the courage and strength to come back to life. If you're trying to figure out how to dream again, try by giving yourself permission. Shout it from the rooftops. It's okay for me to dream. Start small. You don't need the full agenda right this minute, but jot down some thoughts of what you're trying to accomplish, or just make a list of things that you've always wanted to try. Most importantly, surround yourself with like-minded people, preferably people who inspire you. Read books, watch documentaries, listen to podcasts like this one, and talk to people who believe in dreaming big. You gotta dream big. Don't be small. It's not about achieving your dream in a blink of an eye. It's about finding that spark that is filled with hope, imagination, and the strength to try. Langston Hughes said it best, hold fast to your dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. You're not meant to stay grounded. You're meant to soar. Thanks again for hitting that play button for this episode of Better Said Than Written. Until next time, I'm Tamika Cody, reminding you, it's never too late to dream.